трехструнка, как балалайка.
Я понимаю.
Zelensky finally accepted and agreed to Donald Trump's 28-point peace plan. Fantastic news. Great news. That is what we all had been expecting, right? For something to give way, for something to happen. Good news. I mean, you couldn't miss it. It is all over the Western media and all over social media. Fantastic news. But there is a problem. There is a big problem. Zelensky disagreed with three major key points in those 28-point peace plan. In fact, if you take those 3 points out of the entire 28-point peace plan, the rest of the points are useless. Are useless. Believe me, I will discuss these 3 points with you, and these 3 points happen to be the reason why this war in Ukraine started in the first place. And it now threw a dark shadow over all the good news we've been hearing that, hey, finally Zelensky is accepting something, peace plan or peace talk is going to start. Then all of a sudden, boom, it brought those 3 points up, which threw everything back to square zero. Now, these are the 3 points Zelensky rejected or disagreed with. The first one, he disagreed with the limitation of Ukrainian army, the size of Ukrainian army. He would not accept that. Number 2, no membership for NATO. Zelensky would not accept that. Ukraine must be given NATO membership. Okay, I'm coming. Relax. Number 3, no territories concession to end this war or for any peace deal. Zelensky is still in that mindset. He's still in that fairy tale world that somehow, miraculously, Ukraine is going to be able to get all the land back from Russia. Somehow. That is what Zelensky believes. Those 3 points Zelensky is questioning. Now, according to CNN, okay, let's be honest. I mean, if Zelensky actually said those words or not, I couldn't tell you. But it falls in line with the argument Ukraine and the EU have been making in the last few days. Now, everything makes sense. I mean, his argument makes sense. This is far better than what we used to see previously when Zelensky and the EU would go point blank. No, we are not going to even consider. We don't want it. No deal, right? This time around, he decided to accept something for talks to start. That is great. But there is a problem. There is a problem. Donald Trump certainly said last week that if Zelensky does not accept something, he said Zelensky needs to accept something. If he doesn't like the United States peace plan, the United States will make him like it and accept it. Well, it looked like the ball is now rolling, and everything, we seem to be getting a clear direction of travel now. Not like before where everybody go, hey, but this time around, we are getting a clear direction of travel. Like I said, I did not hear or see anywhere Zelensky himself said those words that he doesn't agree to the limitation of Ukrainian military. He would not agree to no NATO membership, and also he would not give territories to Russia to end this war. Personally, I haven't seen anywhere Zelensky said it in person or posted it in any site. But CNN said those were the words of Zelensky. Now, from those 3 points listed above that I just told you, it shows there's going to be a massive obstacle because Ukraine had literally signaled they will not accept any limitation or compromise in those 3 points I just mentioned. But something has to give way for something to happen, right? Let's wait for the real talk to start. Then we can tell what is what and what is not what. Let's just hold our patience and just wait for the real talk to start. At the same time, there is going to be a problem. In fact, there is a problem already, even though Ukraine had signed, they accepted the 28-point peace plan, but the adjustment they are refusing to accept is the exact same reason this war started in Ukraine. Russia wants the limitation of Ukrainian military capacity to a maximum number of 250,000. Russia doesn't want Ukraine to join NATO. Russia doesn't want NATO in their backyard. And Russia wants Crimea and those other 4 regions that legally joined Russia to be recognized as Russian territories. These are the major fat red line for Russia. There is going to be no blinking. There is going to be no movement. Nothing is going to happen. Those red lines will be maintained. So now it looks like Ukraine and Russia seems to be holding the same red line. Russia take those 3 points as their own red line. Now Ukraine had also adopted the 3 point as a red line. Interesting. We are going to, in fact, we are back to square one, where all of this started. I mean, in regard, I don't understand. I don't even know what to say, but this is going to be really interesting. It is going to be interesting because it looks like we are moving forward, 1 step forward, 5 steps backward. 5 steps forward, 20 steps backward. That is what we're witnessing. And all of this is down to the fact that the warmongers in Europe, the European leaders, had continued to deceive Zelensky, that they will continue to support him, put money into his war effort against Russia. If we had, let me put it this way. So if we had and subtract, plus and minus, yeah, Russia would most probably, I would say, allow Ukraine to have up to maybe 300,000 soldiers, forces, once the talks start. They want 250, United States says 600, the European leader, they said they want 800,000. But if you add and subtract, plus and minus, Russia will probably allow 300,000 Ukrainian forces, not more. That is the maximum level I feel Russia will allow Ukraine to have. Russia will never accept the request Ukraine had put forward in regards to those 3 major points, or the EU, or even the United States. Nobody, Donald Trump understands. He sees what is going on, and that is why he's trying to end this quickly. The EU leaders, on the other hand, have their own plan. Those guys. They are planning to divide Ukraine. They are planning to divide Ukraine among themselves. That is true. France wants Odessa. Macron wants Odessa for France. Poland wants the western part of Ukraine. UK wants the capital city, Kyiv. Russia are taking the whole entire eastern part of Ukraine. They are planning or playing it down to this peacekeeper to keep the line safe and blah, blah, blah. No. Every European countries I've just mentioned, UK, France, and Poland, want to divide the rest of Ukraine. Most important, the idea of this so-called peacekeeping will be monitored and controlled by the coalition and not NATO. That is what they said today. This EU leaders make me laugh. You understand? They said the peacekeeping effort would now not be monitored by NATO. It would now be monitored by the coalition, UK, France, and Poland, and I think Germany. That is why I told you they are planning to divide Ukraine among themselves. Now, you see why the EU leaders changed the context in the 28-point peace plan a few days ago. Like I always say, it is not the EU families and men that are dying in this war. It is not the EU that are rationing electricity 2 hours a day. It is not the EU that is freezing to death in this cold winter. So they don't care. They don't care. They will continue to use Ukraine as a bargain chip until things go out of hand, because the person they're dealing with, Russia, is not going to blink, especially in regard to those 3 points. They are not going to blink. So let's just hope all of this is just another political propaganda, or let's hope CNN just made that up. But I can guarantee you, they didn't make it up. Something had been said somewhere. But again, like I said, let's wait for the actual talks to start. And we'll see what is going on, or what is going to happen. While all of this is going on, Russia continues to capture cities, villages, towns, and forest land across the front line. The next target for Russia now is Zaporizhia city, the biggest city in the eastern part of Ukraine, and the biggest city along the front line is Zaporizhia. And Russia is advancing, moving forward speedily toward Zaporizhia. That is why Donald Trump is moving fast to make a deal happen before Russia become obviously victorious and put United States to shame. Already, Russia is victorious. Russia has won this war a long time ago. Russia is now just trying to make a level of mockery of all the 51 or 52 countries that joined to fight against them. That is what Russia is doing. Donald Trump said it can't work. Now, for me, before I say that, before I go to that, let me just say one thing. I can't work out why the EU leaders and Zelensky don't get the message. Donald Trump, from thousands of miles away in the United States, can see the bigger picture of what is happening in Ukraine. He knows Russian plan. Well, who knows what Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin talks about anyway? Because their secret is, so Donald Trump understands something is going to happen. He knows something is about to happen. That is why he is moving fast to make a deal happen before Ukraine lose too much. I just can't understand why the EU leaders cannot get the message or cannot see the bigger picture of what is going on. Now, if Zaporizhia fall, if the city of Zaporizhia fall, Ukraine would have been cut into half by Russia, because then Russia will be right at the edge of Dnipro River. And that is it. It is going to be a game of shelling each other from that end. Russia is never going to move back. Russia would have cut the country into two. Donald Trump understands this. He knows once Zaporizhia is gone, forget it, Odessa automatically fall. Once Zaporizhia fall, Odessa automatically goes, because Russia is just going to literally encircle Odessa. It's going to become one massive quadrant, or whatever they call it, quadrant. And that is it. Odessa is gone. Donald Trump see everything. But it gives me, I'm surprised, I'm shocked why the EU leaders are not saying the same thing, or are not saying things from where other people are looking at it from. Like I said, it is not their citizens that are being killed. It is not them freezing. It is not them having no electricity or having to sleep in bomb shelters every night. So they don't care. They don't care. Donald Trump said, according to the United States Intel, the defeat of Ukraine is imminent. Russia is doing it in a more painful way, by gradually grinding down NATO and the EU powers along the way as Russia is taking those land. Russia could finish this whenever they want to finish it. But Russia don't fight, they don't fight war like that. They will defeat you slowly, steadily, to the bone, to the blood, so that you will never rise again to challenge them when they finish with you. That is what Donald Trump is saying. He said Russia is draining NATO and Russia is draining the EU, and they are taking everything they want regardless. Trump knows the war is over and lost, but he had also successfully removed the United States from the shame and the failure by dumping everything on the EU and NATO. United States, they are clever. They are very clever. They've removed themselves. We know this war started because of the behavior of the United States. But as of today, the 26th of November 2025, they have somehow managed to clear their name. Well, on the book, but we know that name will never clear. But they managed to remove themselves somehow and dump everything on the EU and NATO. Let me round up. I'm conscious of the time. Yesterday, the 25th or the 24th, Russia and the United States had a secret conversation or meeting or whatever you want to call it in Abu Dhabi. And both sides claimed everything was in good shape. And the talks and meeting was positive all around. Both the United States and Russia completely ignored the plan that was put forward, the proposed plan that was put forward by the EU leaders and Zelensky. They did not even look at it. They just went on with the original plan. And I said that United States and Russia would not acknowledge, they would not even look at it because it didn't make any sense. But again, today Zelensky had floated the idea of 3 points from that 28-point peace plan that I think will roll everything back to square one. I just want to hope, like I said, those points that was made by CNN is just another media propaganda. Finger crossed. Let's hope that is what it is. I found it very interesting that another negotiation is happening behind closed doors between United States and Russia without the involvement of anybody. I said it before and I'm going to say it again. I said the United States and Russia had already made a decision in Alaska. Everything that is happening now is formalities, is political show. They are just playing the EU, Europe, and everybody like football. The deal has been done. They are just, I don't even know the word to use, but what do you guys think? Do you think Zelensky will get even close to getting his way with this 3 point he put forward that Ukraine will not accept not joining NATO? They want to join NATO. And they will not accept the limitation of their military size or give territories, accept Russia keep the territories they currently occupy for this war to end. How do you think that is going to play out? Do you believe that is going to be something that will even be discussed? I don't think so. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section.